I'm like a big baby with boobs. One day I've got hair, 4 weeks later I've got nothing. I've got the full blown alopecia, so nothing grows in. And they go, oh my God, there's a bald lady smiling. My backside was on a building and it was illegal.
Imagine seeing your bum projected onto the Houses of Parliament, and without your permission. Gail's life has been extraordinary. She started off life as a model and a presenter, and it's developed into a variety of things over the years, which I won't spoil the surprise on. But she is a wonderful person, is doing great in the world, an amazing woman. I can't wait to introduce you to her. So let's just dive straight in to this week's episode with Gail Porter. Welcome back to another episode here at Turning Your Adversity into an Asset. Today, I have Gail Porter, another example of course, turning your adversity into an asset. Very much a line of UK guests recently, of course, because my background is in the UK, but of course, this is an international audience. So this may be the first time that you've met Gail, learned about Gail, a very inspirational woman, and of course, somebody who has turned adversity into an asset. Otherwise, she would not be here telling a story about turning adversity into an asset. So, Gail, welcome to the show.
Thank you ever so much for having me. And nice to meet people that I've never met before. And I'm bald, just in case anyone hasn't noticed. And it's nothing bad. I've got alopecia, so we'll get there. We
will get there. So if you're watching on YouTube, you've already seen the baldness and a cat that's about to approach on the other side.
This is my rescue cat, and her name is Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy Stardust, there you go. And if you're listening on the podcast, unfortunately, you will not see any baldness or cats, but you know, we move. So
figure it out in your mind. You've got a bald lady and a fat cat that's been rescued. Stardust.
And you've got a ginger bearded Englishman in Mallorca with grey hair that's been dyed. Did this look natural, by the way? Or do you think? It looks
very blonde. It looks very nice. I like it. Yeah.
But does it looks like I've dyed it though, right?
Well, I mean, because you've got like a dark beard and blonde on top, I like it. I think it's a great look. So, yeah,
I kind of wanted to look natural. I envy Philip Schofield. I like that. That's silver.
Don't envy. No offense, but you are so super handsome. You've rocked it. What you've done, you've rocked it.
Thank you.
Don't envy. Why do you not envy my hair? What's wrong with me?
I love your hair. Love it. I mean, it'd be a lot easier. That's for sure.
The good thing about my alopecia is actually I've got the full blown alopecia, so nothing grows in whatsoever. So I've got no hair whatsoever, so nothing. I'm like a big baby with boobs. So I don't have to wax. I don't have to do anything. So as much as alopecia was kind of a bit annoying when it first happened, like you say, I get up, I shower, I'm out, I'm ready.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
You're clean.
I'm clean.
You're always clean. There's no hair in the way. Because I guess I mean really. Sort of turning that into an advantage. There are people with sort of like half alopecia and they have patches and things like that, don't they? And I guess that's almost a little bit more irritating, isn't it? Because you've got to then maintain that.
I always thought if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it well. So when I got alopecia and it all went, and I thought, well, that's great. So I do feel for people that have got a patch here and a patch there. Because you think, oh, that's a little bit kind of, am I bald? Am I not bald? I'm not entirely sure. Whereas mine just went, you're having nothing, Gail. No eyelashes, no eyebrows, no nothing. I was like, the eyelashes. Do you know what, actually, I put eyelashes on yesterday and I woke up this morning. I was trying to keep them on last night for you this morning. And I woke up, one had fallen off. So I looked a little bit like, what's the film?
Crazy Doll.
Yeah, a bit like some sort of like weird horror film. I was like
Chucky or something.
I was like, yeah, it's not a good look, so I didn't want to scare you. So I took
the other. As we start talking about mental health issues and things, which we're going to bring some light to today, I think this is going to be an interesting. There's lots of twists and turns in your life, as they have been mine, and I think both of us combined are going to have a very interesting conversation today.
Absolutely. By the end of this, we're going to have a show somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Let's do it.
Someone's going to see us up going, is this for real? Is his hair dyed? Is she bald? What are they talking about? Yeah.
These guys are mental. we had a conversation before we went live, and Gail was telling me about how many times she's been diagnosed with mental health conditions. And I was telling her, oh, I've had that one. And we was having a little game of like throwing mental health diagnoses at each other and who had what.
It's like that game, Guess Who, isn't it? When you put people down, going, no, you've not got ADHD, you're gone. Brian, you're out. No. Yeah, Gail, you're still
Who
in.
you left with? Oh, schizophrenia. Oh, all right. So let's go back, because there's lots in the middle. There's lots in the end. But of course, there's lots in the beginning. And this is obviously the best place to start chronologically. Let's share with people who may not have heard of you or have heard of you, but would love to learn more about the story and not just the headlines that, as we all know, aren't always accurate. Which is a big part of this podcast, to share what goes on behind the mask of social media and the press, and and things like that. Because a lot of the time everything looks hunky-dory, but then actually that's a very English saying, I should imagine. I've always got to be careful when I say things like that, because then there's Americans going, hunky-dory? What on earth is he saying?
We just go, whatever. Don't even care. We're Scottish. We don't even know. Everyone keeps saying to me in England, no offence to anybody that's listening or watching, they go, what do you think about the whole royal family thing? I went, I'm Scottish. We don't care.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm English. I don't care either.
Don't care. I'm not bothered. I fell out with my brother, but I didn't need to tell the entire world about it. So it's fine.
I didn't even watch it.
I haven't watched any of it. I watched the crime channel.
I do as well. That's why we're mental. I just watched murdering all day long.
Someone said to me over lockdown, they said, oh, do you know what? I learned how to speak French over lockdown. What did you learn to do, Gail? And I said, oh, I'm a detective. And they went, no, you're not. And I went, no, I watched the crime channel every day and I solved every crime before the detectives. So I'm a detective. They went, you're not a real detective. I went, yes, I am. Yeah.
Well, that's actually one of the better things you could have said, because you could have said, I also know the anatomy of a pig and how it's very similar to a human. and how you could very easily commit a kill here. But anyway.
I know how to remove a spleen. Do you? I don't actually. Anybody that's listening, no, I don't.
Yeah, we know nothing about spleens. Let's move on. Right, so
I'll take it out this afternoon. No, I won't. It's a joke.
I like Gail because she brings out the crazy in me. I think we've all got a bit of crazy in us, but we need that sort of crazy energy to bounce it back. It's easy to hold in as well. But
it's the nice thing when you meet someone that has got a little bit of crazy, because I think, especially in England, people hold back. No one says hello to each other. I got on the tube and I go, hello. And they go, oh my God, there's a bald lady smiling. And I just think, oh, do you know what? We've got one life, that's what we get to. I've lost my mum, my dad, my grandparents. I don't have anyone. Well, I do. I've got a beautiful, wonderful daughter, but she's at university. But I just get to the stage, I get up in the morning and I think, do you know what? If I smile at someone and they don't smile back, it's your loss. I'm smiling. So it's good. I'm just going to make today a positive thing, because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? I know it's a very common phrase that people say, going, you don't know what's happening, but I genuinely don't know what's happening. I don't even know what's happening in like 20 minutes. You're going to be you're going to tell me what's happening in 20 minutes. I don't know.
Well, look, this is exactly what this podcast is all about. So let's go back. Let's go back into.
Sorry.
Is it the night? Was it the 90s or was it the early 2000s? Well, when was like peak of sort of Gail and the presenting and sort of you as the TV presenter, as I kind of remember, because I admittedly I'm a bit young. I'm 32, so I would have been probably one of the kids watching the shows.
I'm going to be 52 this in March.
Yeah, so I would have been one of the kids watching the show. So you would have been maybe 20, and I would have been maybe 0. Let's not do maths today. That's not what we're about. But anyway, so I kind of remember you doing various presenting shows. But anyway, tell me about the start of the career.
Okay, well, do you know what? I'm not going to bore you with everything. So I'll give you like a really quick rundown. So I went to college, university, blah, 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 did film. I studied film because I wanted to be Princess Leia in Star Wars. So I'm not going to show you that side of my flat, but it's all Star Wars. I love Star Wars. So my mom took me to see Star Wars in 1979 or 1978, can't remember. Anyway, but I just fell in love with Star Wars and I thought I want to be in space. So I thought, well, I'll study film and then I'll be Princess Leia. But obviously Princess Leia had been taken by Carrie Fisher. So then I thought, well, I would like to be an editor. So I studied behind the scenes. So I used to do a little bit of editing, a little bit of radio, anything whatsoever. I just liked being involved in making. I always thought TV and films were just magic. It was a way of sort of escaping reality. And then I ended up being a runner, which was making teas and coffees. So it wasn't really escaping that much of reality. It was just doing it for people that were making adverts. And then so I was doing all these things, working behind the scenes, loved it. I was a camera assistant, sound assistant. I was just always an assistant to somebody, just kept smiling and doing my jobs. And then somebody said to me, I was babysitting as well. So they said, you get on really well with our kids. You should, maybe go for an audition for a kids TV program. And I was like, really think about that. And I went for an audition for a kids TV program on ITV and I got the job. That was it. First audition. The job. And then I kind of went from kids TV programs to going back to work behind the scenes to getting offered other jobs. And so nothing was planned. It just kind of happened. And then in the 90s, I started doing programs like Top of the Pops and Big Breakfast, which was fun. We had fun in the 90s. And then I got asked to do a photograph for a magazine called FHM, and they took a picture of my bottom and they didn't pay me. And then they projected it onto the Houses of Parliament. And then
let's slow down there because
but I was just trying to put it into an ADHD kind of like.
That's good. But that particular part is quite a big poignant moment. So how did that come about? Because I don't think it was just your bottom, was it? You was entirely naked.
Yeah, it was my bottom. Yeah. So it was seen from the back. So I kind of like was doing that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. There was also other than bottom available, but obviously
you could see the sort of like right side of
of course. So how did that come about and why, and the Houses of Parliament? I'll be honest, I haven't dug into that, and that was probably a little bit before my time. So I did know that it happened, but I didn't know why. So please.
So what happened was when I had hair, I had lots and lots of sort of your color of hair, very long blonde hair.
Actually, just very quickly, before we go on to that, you sort of skipped a bit because you did a bit of modeling and stuff, right, as well?
Well, not really. Well, people think that I did modeling, but what happened was it sort of went hand in hand with the presenting. So if I was doing Big Breakfast, the Big Breakfast would say, we are doing a little bit of publicity in GQ magazine and they want to take a picture of Gail. So they take a picture of me, or
that sounds like modelling to me, Gail.
Well, but they take a picture of Johnny Vaughan, and they'd say,
"You put me in GQ magazine. I'm calling myself a model." I'll tell you that.
But Johnny Vaughan was in it as well, so he wasn't called a model. But because I was a female, they're going, "Well, she's modelling." But mind you, I did sort of like do it in a bikini. Johnny Vaughan didn't do it in a bikini.
Bikini, GQ magazine, modelling. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
It wasn't on my CV. It was just kind of like, every day was different. So, I could be opening the Co-op saying, we've got vegan sausages, and I'd open that, and it's not on my CV. Gail's a vegan sausage person. But if I've got a bikini on, they went, she's a model. I was like,
sure. Is that not a label? Is that not a label you like to identify with then? Just
do you know what? I did a whole documentary about labels. Some people take the labels. Me, I don't pay any attention to them because I'm just me. So you can call me what you want. You can like.
I'm just wondering. Of course, we're going to get onto the mental health labels, and that's a big one. But in terms of just like,
I think I've got about 6.
Pardon?
I think I've got about 6 from the mental health label people.
Oh, I'm sure you've got probably 8 or 9 that just haven't been diagnosed as well.
Yeah, we're having that game, aren't we? Halfway through this.
We are, but so labels is definitely a topic for us to talk about. But specifically the modelling one, I feel a bit of resistance from you around wanting to own that identity. Is there a label in the modelling that you just want to disassociate with?
No, not at all. It's just, if I did a photo shoot for, say, a magazine, that was probably half a day. So I think about my presenting or, writing a book. It's taken me, 3 years? Right. I know it's Gail's a writer, but I do a photo shoot for half a day and they go, she's a model. That was half a day. Yeah. So it's kind of, in my mind, I think I'm more of a writer than anything else, but nobody hears that I sit in my house on my own with a cat and write every single day. But they say, oh, hang on a minute, we saw your bum, so you're a model.
True. Yeah, flesh seems to be more of a set in stone. This is what you do than things that you do in your brain.
If someone sees you and they think, oh yeah, we'll put a label on that because we can see it. What they don't see, they don't put a label on.
True.
Unless they're a doctor or my cat. Ziggy.
Okay, so let's go back to the FHM thing. So you had your bum and side boob, and also the rest of you. Obviously, not from the front. Obviously, that would have been
Can I tell you
incredibly.
something very interesting?
Go on then.
Which I think I have said once before, but so when they took the picture, they didn't pay me. They just said, "Oh, we're just going to take a quick picture. Not sure what we're going to do with it. Don't worry about it. No, don't worry about
Nothing to do with the Houses of Parliament. Just
yeah." So anyway, I was like, "Yeah, no one's going to see it. It's totally fine." And then they said, "But what we can see slightly your right side, but we have to erase your nipple because that's offensive."
Mm.
And then they projected it like 100 feet onto the Houses of Parliament. That's not offensive.
Is that not legal? Did they get you to sign something?
Yeah, so what happened is they didn't tell me. I didn't know anything about it. And I was watching the news in the morning in my flat, and it said, blah, 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 Gail Porter. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm on the news. This is bad. And I went through and I just looked at the Houses of
Whose have I taken out?
I was dissecting them. Yeah. I was like, what? And there's my entire naked body on the Houses of Parliament. And my phone started going crazy. And I started, I was just like, oh my gosh. My mum phoned me first. And she went, what have you done now? And I was like, I love you, bye. And then my grandpa phoned me. Horatio Walter Stanley Twiddy is my grandpa's name. Unfortunately, he's passed away. But he phoned me up and I said, Grandpa, I am so incredibly sorry. And he went, I am so proud of you. You've never done anything normal. And I was like, oh, Grandpa. He went, I'm just going to the shops to buy a copy. I was like, oh God, don't do that.
Don't
Please
do that, Granddad. I made it with a great ass.
He went, I'm going to get Uncle Alf a copy as well. And so he phoned me back. He went, I bought 3 copies of FHM, Gail. I was like, oh my God. My grandpa's just going, I know.
I should imagine he saw past the nudity and just saw the fact that, you was someone special in the House of Parliament. So did you not sign anything then? Because these days that would be probably in the category of revenge porn. You'd probably get 2 years in jail for that.
Well, I think, do you know what people keep saying to me? Have you never sued? Have you never done it? But the thing was, it was so unexpected. You don't expect that in the slightest. Obviously I knew I did the photograph, but I didn't. It was kind of, yeah, we'll do something. It might be in whatever page. It might be this, might be that. And then suddenly it's on the front cover and my friends from America were phoning me going, is your ass on the Houses of Parliament? Sorry to anybody who's American and that's a terrible accent because I'm really bad. But I was like, yeah, oh my God, have you seen it? And they're like, oh my God, man, everyone's seen it.
And I genuinely haven't seen it. I'm going to have to Google it after. And also,
can you Google it? Can you just love the hair? I did love the hair.
So the hair's there. Okay, interesting. Because I thought it might have been some sort of almost campaign, like this is what real beauty is like with the alopecia. But it's with the hair.
1999, I had hair.
Okay, so I'm taking it this was quite a flattering picture then.
Well, I mean, 1999, lads mags, I think they were all called then. Well, they were called then. So it's like FHM, GQ, Loaded. I think I did most of them. And they're all airbrush. They all make you look great. Yeah. So, if they take the picture in my flat right now, you go, and then they take it into a studio where they make you look lovely. So if you look at it, yeah, I would even look at it and go, who's she? Oh, it's me.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
How many labels did she got? And she's got her nipples.
So why did they do it then? So why the Houses of Parliament and why you and why the campaign? What was the?
To be honest, I wasn't in on any of it, so I didn't know. But I found out they were doing this thing called the 100 Sexiest Women, and they were promoting their own magazine. So I was the only. For whatever reason, they picked my picture out of all the ladies that they'd taken pictures of. And probably because I didn't have an agent and I didn't sign anything.
Yeah, got it for free.
Who's the dumbest of them all? Oh, she'll do it. The one with no nipples. Yeah, we'll put her on because she's not signed anything. So legally, I can't go back and say you've gone against a contract. I didn't sign anything. I was stupid. I thought, this is nice. Someone's taking a picture of my bum. It's never going to look the same when I'm in my 50s and or 60s. So, it's a picture. Nobody's going to see it. And yeah, they completely took advantage. But it's like, who else is going to say that?
Yeah, I would have done the same. In fact, if they told me it was going to the House of Parliament, I would have said, go for it and get it up.
I was pretty upset at the time because obviously I felt stupid because I hadn't signed anything.
You didn't know.
And also a lot of people thought that I was in on it and thought I was really clever with a PR stunt. I wish I wasn't that clever. I just thought it's a day out, someone's taking a picture, no one's going to see it, and then the next thing it was in the papers and everyone's judging me.
Wow.
But it's done, so there's nothing I can do about it.
Well,
and do you know, no, but the thing is, they never even gave me a copy of the magazine. Never even got to see it.
No compensation or anything. But was that a catalyst for your career to really sort of spike up from there, do you think? Did you get more gigs? Did you get more publicity?
Obviously, a lot of people were talking about it because it was an issue, because it was illegal, for one. It was a company called, I've got to be really careful.
I wouldn't say it just in case then. I might get sued.
No, I've dealt with them. So this is fine. I can do what I want.
Okay.
Yeah. Happy New Year, Gail. You could do what you want. Okay. She's slightly crazy, so she can do what she wants. They're called cunning stunts.
Now, is that a play on words for a reason?
Yes.
Right. Yes. Okay. I was going to say, is this my brain? Because sometimes my brain just shows me those things, but they're not there.
You have to be very careful, because if you say it the wrong way, then it sounds very rude.
And did you know that was their name when they asked you to do the photo shoot? Because that would have been a red flag for me.
So basically, all I did a photo shoot with FHM. Half a day, thank you, bye. Then I found out that they got cunning stunts involved. They got the press involved. They got so this was all happening behind I didn't know any of this until I woke up in the morning and saw the image on the House of Parliament. So what they did was they contacted cunning stunts and they phoned all the press and said at midnight on whatever date it was in 1999, we're going to project an image of a naked woman onto the House of Parliament, completely illegal. You've got 1 minute, all the press, to take a picture, and then the police will arrive within whatever time. And then you have to get out of there, and then you've all got the exclusive, and then we get paid, FHM, and Gail knows nothing. So I learned about it the same as everybody else did on the news in the morning, and they made an absolute fortune, and I never heard from them again.
Well, they are fucking cunning. I mean, wow, that's incredible. Well, it's not incredible. It's incredible to think how, because I know the media is a bad rap now, but I think it was worse back then, right? I mean, it was just ruthless back then. No contracts, no nothing.
I think Liam Gallagher said the other day, and he said, could you imagine if we all had like mobile phones in the 90s, we'd all be in jail.
Yeah. You'd also probably be rich from all the, claims that you could make and stuff like that. Like if that happened in today's world, I mean, the outroar of the public would have been huge. Yeah. People would have gone to jail, and you would have got, millions in compensation. And
back to the question that you asked, did it sort of help or hinder my career? What happened was everyone was asking questions going, were you in on it? Were you? So people were talking about me, but it didn't really help me sort of do jobs I wanted to do, because everyone was more interested in the fact that my backside was on a building and it was illegal. So I was kind of put from, doing lovely jobs like Wish You Were Here, which was a holiday gig, to suddenly just being a bit of tabloid fodder. So
how did it make you feel when all that was going on?
I wanted to be very stoic, as we say in Scotland. I'm strong, I can deal with this. People are going to have all their opinions. They're going to think I'm in on it, or they're going to think I'm stupid, or but when my grandpa said, I'm proud of you and I love you, that's all I cared about. I thought, right, I've got my grandpa's backing. People were making their comments in the newspapers, and they were making comments on TV, and some were okay, some were horrible. And I thought, I've got to just have this. And if I can get through this, I can get through anything. It's not the worst thing. I work with the most amazing charities in the world. So I see things that you never want to see. I've been to countries you don't even want to know what's going on. So I was thinking my arse, that sounded a wee bit Irish. My arse on a building is not the worst thing in the world. So you can think what you want. And you know what? I've got a 20-year-old daughter now. So I did tell her when she was younger, and now she's 20. She's like, check my mum out.
Yeah.
You're like, you can say that to our 20-year-old mates. Good. My mum's ass was on the Houses of Parliament. She went, considering how many arseholes are in Parliament, it's quite cool that you're on the front of it. It's like, yeah, that's okay. There was a lot of time that I was feeling very, very insecure and I was feeling very vulnerable. But then I thought, it's my fault. I allowed them to take the picture. I didn't know what they were going to do, but I'll take responsibility, and, I'll get on with it. it.
So what happened from there? How far away down the line was the alopecia? And
so hang on a minute. So do you know what? It's like,
don't worry specifically about days. We don't have to get too.
So, no, I lost my hair. So my daughter's now 20. So I lost my hair when my daughter was 2. So 18 years ago. Okay. So it was quite a while after 1999. Yeah, 2002, I lost my hair. So yeah, three years. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was working in America. I was doing a program called Dead Famous. Do you know what? It's not until I do interviews that I think, is this my real life? No wonder I'm busy. But I was doing a program called Dead Famous, where we went to America and we looked for dead famous spirits.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, so we had to go and look for Elvis. So I went to Elvis's school reunion with all his old school friends, and then we'd sit and do a seance and see if Elvis wanted to join.
Did he join?
Well, apparently to the psychics he did. For me, I just had a great day. It was really good fun. But but anyway, I think we were looking for Frank Sinatra in a graveyard in Vegas. See, do you know what? This is why I live on my own, because when I say it out loud,
I like it.
I realize why I'm single and I live with a cat, because
no way. Most people are literally, on commuting to work, but they're watching their phones. They got no stories to tell. They got no life experience, and they're,
You're right. So you and I, we're going to meet somewhere in a really nice coffee shop in London, and then a nice lady and gentleman will be going, "Oh, how was your day at work?" And they go, "Oh, the accounts were terrible." And then you'll be going, "Well, you'll never guess. What do you think about my hair and my beard? Do you think they match?" And I'll be going, "Do you remember that time when we were in a graveyard in Vegas?"
Exactly. Remember that time I asked was on the
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Stories like this is what living's all about, and it comes with ups and downs, and that's pretty much what this podcast is about. Shedding some light on that, because there's been some good times, there's also been some bad times as well. So let's go to the alopecia. So I guess that was the link into it.
Finish Frank Sinatra. So what happened was, Frank Sinatra, we're looking for his ghost in a graveyard in Vegas, and then one of the production people said, "There's a massive patch on the side of your head of nothingness," and I noticed it, and I was like, "Oh," but I thought maybe it's hormones. My daughter was 2, so maybe your body's changing. But then it all just suddenly was coming out in clumps and clumps and clumps.
I hope it wasn't Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I think it was. Frank's going, "You're not having that."
You cheeky. Let me rest.
Let me rest in peace. So Frank took my hair. So within 4 weeks it was all gone. It was just, I think
everything.
I had
just on the head.
Just on the head at that point. So I was quite happy because I had my eyelashes. So one of the weirdest things about alopecia, I mean, I'm completely fine with it. I don't care what anyone thinks about me, but I do miss my eyelashes because also, people don't realize that your eyelashes stop you getting dust in your eyes and stuff. So, they actually, not only can you flirt, but
helpful as well.
Quite helpful. And also nose hair. So if you get a runny nose, you've got hairs that stop you just running. So if I have a runny nose, I've got tissues all the time because I've got no nose hair.
I guess a lot of stuff can get up there as well, and you can get ill quicker as well.
I'm sneezing all the time. Yeah. So, but anyway, so all my hair, so within 4 weeks, I had one patch, and so there was a lovely makeup lady, and I said, "Do you know what? Just shave this off because it's ridiculous."
Can I just pause there a little bit, because it's just right, I lost my hair. Frank ripped it out, and there must have been some part where you looked in the mirror and thought, "Holy shit, what the that moment must have happened," or did it not?
Well, do you know what? I always say to people, I talk to a lot of kids who are losing their hair, and I speak to a lot of people that have gone through chemotherapy, because my mum lost her hair through chemotherapy. So I think I'm extremely lucky. It's just hair. I wasn't going through chemo. I wasn't,
But did you get that at the time though? Because it's sometimes difficult to have that mentality when you're in it,
Well, yeah, this is what I was going to say, is because I felt like I was so lucky because it was so quick. It was one day I've got hair, then I'm filming, and then 4 weeks later I've got nothing. So I didn't really have time to process it. And it was, I think it must be harder for people losing bits by bit, and it goes on for months or years. Whereas mine was just like, you've got hair, and then you wake up and you've got none. I was like, oh my gosh.
And was there any hope of it coming back at that point?
Oh, well, I did a documentary for BBC One about hair loss. And again, it's like mental health. One person said, yeah, 100% you get it back. Next person said, 100% you'll never get it back. Another person went, you might get a tiny bit there. I was like, well, I don't want that.
Yeah, that's weird ponytail.
So, but I mean, literally nothing grows. There is nothing. If you felt my head, it's like an egg.
Did they give you it looks, I want to touch it, I must admit.
Well, we'll meet for coffee. I mean, that'll be another thing. So when everyone's going, oh, how was your day in accounting? And you go, can I touch your head?
Yeah, you just, rather than stroking a cat, I'm just stroking you.
Yeah, make a wish.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's not just nice to touch, but I get some superpowers out of it. I get another mental health card to add to my game. Yeah. Right, we're going to get onto that. So you didn't really grieve or care. It was just kind of like, move on.
Yeah, well, what happened was when I came back to London, so I was working in America, came back to London, and of course, our lovely press people saw me somewhere, and it all went a little bit crazy, going, what? Nobody thought to maybe ask me. They just had it flashed everywhere. What is wrong with her? What's wrong with her? Which is fine. If that makes them happy, then that's fine. But I just thought that's a little bit weird. Why does nobody just say, so everyone was assuming I had gone through chemotherapy or, I was ill and I just wanted to say to everyone, I'm totally fine. I'm just hairless.
Yeah. Can I just, because celebrities, I'm just trying to think of who it was. I think it might have been Denzel Washington, actually.
Oh, I'll take that. Ooh, how nice.
He said,
we're in the same conversation.
He said, the press don't want to be right, they want to be first.
That's a good one.
And it's true. It's like they don't care.
Do you have his phone number?
No, I wish I did. We chatted him.
We could all go for lunch. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
So yeah, I heard him say it online somewhere.
They do. They want to be first. They want to be first in saying something, even if it's wrong. It doesn't matter. But for me, it's like water off a duck's back. I don't care what they say, because I'm Z-list. No one cares. But some people take it very personally. But it was splashed everywhere. People were asking me, "Are you okay? Are you going through this?" And the only thing that angered me was the fact that my mum had gone through chemotherapy and she actually lost her hair because of something awful. Mine fell out. It's aesthetic. It doesn't matter. If I wanted to wear a wig, I'd wear a wig. But to be honest with you, I'm so clumsy, and also it's quite itchy. I tried it, and it's nice. If I go out in Soho on a Friday night, yeah, I'll go pink, purple, whatever. But no, I'm quite happy, and it's easy. And if people want to ask me questions, I love kids, because kids are like, they always go, "Where's your hair?" And I go, "Oh no, I left it on the bus." Like, oh.
They're so filterless, kids, aren't they? I'd like to. It's nice that they're like that.
They're very honest. They're just like, where is it? Whereas other people, like I've had people go, so are you going through some sort of treatment? Are you dying? You just think, I'd rather you just say, why have you got no hair? It's not a problem. Or
just start rubbing it and just try and make a wish, at least.
Why have you got no hair? Hang on 2 seconds. Shh. Am I invisible? And they went, oh gosh, she's nuts as well.
Well, right, let's talk about that, because at the moment you're coming across as, like you said, this stoic woman who's like, right, I went from a model to now losing my hair, which is obviously a big part of my identity. Normally that would rattle people's cages. They would be, in turmoil, not knowing who they were anymore, not understanding why this is happening, lots of grief, lots of confusion. You're saying that didn't happen, but obviously we've got the conversation to have about multiple mental health conditions. So where did that part come in? And did it have any part to play on the alopecia or?
What, the mental health?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, because I've always been a little bit, I never thought I was different. Maybe I was a little bit outspoken, or I'd laugh at things that maybe I shouldn't be laughing at, if something happened to me, or if I, someone broke my arm, I'd find the funny point to it, and other people going, oh, it's terrible. These things are not funny. Yeah. So for me, I don't think I've really got any mental health issues. I just think I'm the sort of person that if something happens, I'll ask questions, or I'll take it and I'll just get on with it. And some people find that.
So where did all these labels come from? Did you do some sort of documentary about finding out these labels and stuff? How did that come about?
I got pretty depressed when I was a teenager, and I think it was mum that, you know, when they don't know how to deal with it, they just take you to a doctor, and then a doctor said, oh, take Prozac. And then when you're 16, 17, you start taking a drug, and then I felt worse. And then somebody else would take, mum would say, well, go and see another doctor and see somebody else. And then somebody else gives you another drug. And so I ended up sort of like taking different medication because people thought, well, that might help. And when you're a teenager, you go, okay, that's fine. And then I didn't really question it. And then I sort of started questioning it when I got older, thinking, I don't want to take these drugs. I'm quite happy going for a run, even if I don't want to. And then I started asking questions about mental health, and then people sort of put more labels on me. Bless you, make a wish. One's a wish.
I want to rub your head to make a wish. It's just doesn't feel the same.
I'll rub it for you, right? But the thing is, right, you're going to have to do like, what's it, telepathy?
Reiki over the...
telepathy. So I'm going to...
Oh, telepathy.
I've made it for you. You're going to be fine.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I did sort of years and years of taking lots of prescribed drugs to make me happy.
What age was this then? Between the ages of 17, you said, or did you say 17? Or not just
16, I started to get a little bit sad, and then 17, I think I started taking whatever they were giving me.
That had any effect on the hair, potentially?
Well, no, because I lost my hair when I was 17 years ago. So I was taking like prescription drugs when I was 17, and I had loads of hair. I used to go into the hairdressers and they go, oh my God, Gail's back. So I had such thick hair. They're like, oh, it's going to take at least an hour. No, so I don't know what happens with the hair. I have no idea. But we did a documentary about it and no one knew that either. But no, I don't think so, because I stopped taking medication for mental health a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago. So no, I don't take any medication whatsoever. I don't take anything. I'm pretty healthy. I've stopped taking.
So tell us about the diagnoses and things. You had some diagnoses, and we was having that joke about, you know.
Diagnosis.
Yeah. So
on the end of it, diagnosis.
Yeah, diagnosis. All the labels, because I've been given many as well, and we can have that conversation. I mean, I'll just tell you mine. So I've had antisocial personality disorder, bipolar type 2, and emotionally unstable personality disorder, which is also called borderline personality disorder. And I've also been sectioned under the Mental Health Act, and also been prescribed antipsychotic medication in the past. And now, as it stands today, I'm pretty normal. Well, no, that's not true. Not mental.
If you and I were doing Tinder profiles, we'd be matched up.
We would. We would have a very interesting relationship.
Apart from the age and the hair.
Yeah. But, you know, they do say opposites attract. I don't know, who knows. But
I think it's the most wonderful, colourful thing. I don't like labels. I don't like people telling you. So the documentary I did recently, which we did win a BAFTA for, which is up to
you. Congratulations.
Yeah. I want to see a BAFTA. It's so exciting. Do you want to see it?
Go for it. Yeah. I feel sorry for everybody in the podcast. Anyone who's listening on the podcast now, you can also check out this interview on YouTube at Lewis Raymond Taylor, and you'll be able to see this live. Wow. Oh my God, I've never seen one before. It looks like The Mask, you know, from The Mask. The first one where he puts it on.
So basically, Lewis, the more crazy we are, you get BAFTAs.
Brilliant. All right, so tell us about how you won that and that documentary and everything that went with it, because that's interesting.
So it's like single documentary. So this is not, obviously, it's not just me. It's like everyone that was involved in it. And it was called Being Gail Porter. And it was about, how do people give us labels? Why can't you just be yourself? And the company that were making it, Turn Television, they contacted me and said, would you be quite happy to spend 6 months going around the country and finding out what it is to be you? So it's like being Lewis, being Gail, being your neighbor, because we're all ourselves. And I said, yeah. And they went, it could be quite difficult. And so like you, I went to, I think, 5 different doctors. I was bipolar 1, bipolar 2, personality disorder, totally fine. Funny, one person said. I think I got 6. But yeah, and they'd all met me for like 5-10 minutes. And they all gave me, and that we'd recommend this drug, we'd recommend this antipsychotic, I'll give you Prozac. I didn't know these people. I didn't know.
You're full of drugs and just give you labels, and they don't know you and they've never experienced it. They just read it in a textbook 1 week out of their degree. Interesting.
And I said to my friends, and I said, I think this is a good idea to do this documentary. And they went, are you going to be okay? And I went, yeah, I think it might help a lot of people, because we are sort of programmed to, well, if you're not feeling right, just go to the doctors. Now, if you're not feeling right, we've got so many different ways that we can communicate. I mean, we met through social media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying you talk to anybody on social media, but you've got places to go to speak to, because I don't even know my doctor's name. And I get prescribed all sorts of stuff. I don't even go anymore. And I'm not saying that to anybody. If you want to go to doctors, go to the doctors. If you feel that's a great thing for you, you do it. For me personally, I'll go for a run or take a dog for a walk. My arm, I'd have to go somewhere.
So labels are dangerous, because just to give you a little background on the first one I ever got, I was 18 years old. So I was still, I wasn't a child, I was technically a man, but I was still way in my development. And
18's still young.
Yeah, it is, for sure, exactly. I've got like 10 more years before my brain's fully formed and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Ladies mature a little bit earlier, don't they? Yeah. But you did. I don't think you did. You never did. But that's why you won a BAFTA. And you actually won a BAFTA. It's not like, I won this BAFTA of this documentary that I was a part of where I played this part. It's like, it was about Gail. Gail is a BAFTA now. So well done. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't want to make this about me, but I just want to, I resonate with the labeling part and how negative it can be, because when I was 18, I was diagnosed with this antisocial personality disorder. And at this point, I'd been expelled from school and I'd been in a young offenders institution, and all these things had happened where I felt really bad in myself as it was. And then I Googled this disorder that I'd been given by this guy that I'd spoke to for an hour as a part of a pre-sentence report, which is a part of probation before they send you to prison. Because they was a bit confused as to why I didn't give a shit about the fact that I was going to prison. Yeah, I've got some stuff.
Can I ask you to go to prison, or
Go, of course you can, yeah.
Or I just asked then. So why did you go to prison? You have to answer.
I went, of course I can. Yeah, I've been on loads of podcasts. I'm very open, just like you. I share everything. Yeah, so the first time I went to prison was for stealing a van, having a police chase, crashing it, and running away and getting caught and had marijuana on me. Second time was for breaching my probation order and got sent back and recalled back to a young offenders institution. And the third time was for GBH, where I actually hit a man and put him in a coma for 3 days. Yeah, pretty extreme. We'll have to dive really deep into my story another day, because mine has a long twist and turn to it as well.
We do that when we're sitting at that coffee shop with accountants and we're doing hair, GBH, prison.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just throw that in there. And also,
if we squeeze our stories together, it's like a fucking monster of.
And then I also interviewed Kermit the Frog, so we'll just get that in there. I know. Oh my God, we're going to be like.
I remember Kermit. I do remember Kermit. This is an interesting sort of full circle moment. I, as a child, watched Kermit, and now interviewing the lady who's spoken to him. Wow, that's incredible.
If anyone heard us in a coffee shop having this conversation, we'd either be dating serial killers or we're never going to date again, because people are going, are these people for real? Yeah.
We'll have to whisper. But yeah, just quickly going back to that point, at 18 years old, I was diagnosed with that. I Googled it, and it basically came up with, it's the condition that psychopaths have, essentially. So I was like, brilliant.
So which diagnosis was this?
Antisocial personality disorder, or essentially.
Is that like, what's it, borderline personality?
No, that one was later on, but the first one I ever had was
antisocial.
Yeah, no empathy, no sympathy, no remorse, no emotional intelligence, charismatic, charming, manipulative, those kinds of psychopathic traits.
Who did that? Was it like one of your relatives, or was it an actual doctor?
Yeah, it was an actual doctor. So I went to, yeah.
Is that the sort of thing my dad would have said?
Auntie Jane goes, you're a fucking psycho, you are. No, it was, no, like I said, so I was on trial.
Yes, that.
I was on trial for some violent offences, and I went to for a pre-sentence report, which is essentially where you go to probation, and probation recommends sentencing for the judge, so they know a little bit of context and can see what would be an appropriate sentence. Most people go to those probation pre-sentence reports, knowing that they've got to be on their best behaviour because this is going to be the report that goes to the judge. For me, I'm sitting there like, what the f*** do you want? You know, they're like, Lewis, you're looking at 8 years in prison. I'm like, yeah, and?
I was thinking, when I was homeless, I thought, maybe I should do something.
Hold on a minute. What did you just say?
I was homeless for 6 months.
Oh,
I was thinking
we're going to need a long time for this podcast, aren't we?
Well, I was thinking maybe I should do something a little bit naughty. So, because if I was in prison, at least I'd get fed and stuff.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, the Young Offenders Institution is not a place you want to go. I can tell you that now. That's a very horrible place. But yeah,
they're not here, are they? So, you know, that's one thing.
Sure. You win a fight, you just grease it up and you go in there, we better grab you.
I've got 2 second-dan black belts.
Oh, I saw that. And you're a black belt in karate. You are what's the word for you? An enigma, aren't you?
Yeah, and a ninja. An enigma ninja.
You're an enigma ninja. You actually are. But I'm sorry to just keep on like, I want to talk about me, but I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about the label. But anyway, to cut a long story short, I got told I was a psychopath. And then that made me think that, of course, I am.
This is great. I love this. This is my favorite podcast ever. But Louis Theroux wasn't a psychopath. But yeah, I love you.
Oh, you did Louis Theroux. Oh, he's a legend. I love him. But yeah, well, if you just put me above Louis Theroux, that's the best compliment anyone could ever have. So thank you.
There you go.
Let's hope Louis Theroux hears this and wants to get me on one of his documentaries.
Yeah, definitely.
But, actually, no, that'd probably be quite offensive. Him actually thinking about it.
No, I won't. He's had me on, so do you know what? Just take it. I mean,
thank you.
When you get asked, do you want to do Louis Theroux? And when you watch all the telly programs, do you think, does he think I'm absolutely genuinely batshit mental, or does he want to just chat to me?
Have you got a link to that? I'd love to watch that. I've not seen that on the. I thought I'd watch all of it. I haven't seen that.
So I think you probably just like Google it somewhere. Don't know. It was on. I think he did 10 over lockdown. So there was me, Chris O'Dowd.
Oh, on his podcast. Right, I was thinking about the series.
He did Miriam you know, the lady that swears a lot, Marga. I can't remember how to pronounce her last name. She's a very funny actress lady. He did 10 people. He picked 10 people over lockdown.
Wow, I'm going to go and watch that. That's going to be cool.
I was one of them, and it was quite funny because I was sort of going through trauma at the time because I'd picked up my dead dad's ashes from Spain and got him home, and he was sitting next to the sofa when I was doing a chat, and I was like, Louis, do you want to meet my dad? He's like, yeah, and I was like, I picked up the box. Oh, I just thought, you know what, my dad's never been on telly, so
wow,
there you go. He would have enjoyed it because my dad had quite a good sense of humor, even though he could be weird. But I thought,
well, who was it again? Frank Sinatra ripped your hair out. At least he didn't do anything like that.
Frank Sinatra ripped my hair out. My dad was sitting here with me for like a year during COVID. I actually put him in the spare room because I'm like, I've had enough now. I can't deal with this anymore. You're going in the spare room. Go and sit next door because I
need some time on my own.
I need some time on my own to deal with your financial issues that you've left.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was quite a colourful time. And if I hadn't lost my hair before I'd lost my dad, I would have lost my hair over COVID because I was so stressed.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't have a mom. Like I say, you know, they've all passed away. So it was just me dealing with my dad's stuff in Spain. And I was like, I don't know anybody, can't speak Spanish, and I don't know who's looking after his finances. And it turns out it was me. I was like, oh God.
Wow.
I can't even look after myself, let alone a dead person. So anyway.
Can't even look after a dead person. Wow, we need to do a part 2 for this. I think
we do, don't we? I know. Sorry.
Oh no, it's been good so far, but I feel like we're scratching the surface, aren't we?
Oh, we could go on forever.
Let's quickly touch on the labels. I'm not going to talk about my story because you obviously don't want to hear Gail's.
So anyway, you were in prison for how? So you were there.
Well, we won't go into that one.
But you were. What was the longest time you were in for?
I got 18 months and served 9, and then did 9 in community. So I did 9 months.
So. You know, when you watch all these programs on the telly box with people in prisons, are there really, really mean people in there? Obviously they are because they're in prison. But sometimes you watch these documentaries and some people just don't seem to have any care about anything. Yeah,
there's some crazy fuckers in there. The Young Offenders Institution was the worst because everyone in there wants more time on their sentence because they want to be more notorious and they want to show themselves, and they're actually going out looking for fights.
That's the thing.
In the Young Offenders Institution, everyone wants to have more fights to be more like notorious, and even my brain was wired to thinking that was going to be the thing that was going to give me significance and status, and It was the closest thing I knew to love and things like that. It was crazy.
But do they not realize that eventually they're going to get caught and they're going to spend their entire life?
But they, for some reason, they thought that was a good thing because they didn't have the love and affection of their family probably. And the only thing they had is this status and reputation, status was
idea. We should do this, right? Because I always wanted to go to prison, but in the fact is, as a person that's not done anything really wrong, I want to go in to find out why people want to stay in prison, and and also find out if people are in prison and they want to come out and completely change their lives. It would be really interesting to be in
I could tell you. I could tell you. Well, I'll tell you one guy. I won't register his name, but one guy who I was particularly close with, friends with. I say particularly close with. I don't mean anything like what you might. One guy I was particularly close with. You know what I mean?
Shower Ray, not in the shower Ray.
No, it wasn't that. No. So one of my friends in there, he was 17 years old when he punched a man and he killed him, and he got 14 years life sentence. So he has to serve at least 14 years, and then he has to apply for parole. But at 23,
a pub thing, like when someone just like hit someone?
Just out in the street. He was a bit of a hood rat, admittedly, and he had a black eye when he was in Crown Court at the Old Bailey, and they just made an example of him and just sent him to life for one punch. I don't know the full circumstances of this story, but I know that actually I did Google it after and I did look at it briefly, and it was pretty much that. And I think it was just at a time where there was a lot of sort of gang violence going on, and they just wanted to say, look, you can't get away with this. And he was really had a lot of attitude. He was there in a tracksuit, black eye, and they just said, this kid, fuck him. Even when I went to court, I'm smart enough to know, put a suit on and look like a polite white boy, and you're probably going to get away with it. That's the reality. That's the truth of the matter. That's not me being discriminatory, by the way. Just want to put that one out there. But, there's...
like we say, we watch, I watch these things all the time, and it's so incredible when you watch these court cases, and depending on what people look like, what color they are, what, 100%. How they've been brought up, you see someone doing what you call a sucker punch. So one person I saw the other day did a sucker punch, and he got something, he was put on remand. Yeah. So he didn't go in, and then somebody else was in for like 6 years.
Well, this guy got 14 years, and then he's on, and then at that point he needs to apply for parole. And if he gets no, he has to do another 4 until he can apply again. So if he gets 2 knockbacks, then he's going to do 22 years. And anyway, I met him at 23, so he's been in this, or 24, so he's been in the system for like 7 years. Been in prison for 7 years, all the way through young offenders, right into the main prison. It's been his life. And he was such a lovely guy, and he had such dreams to travel, and he read books, and he did education, and he'd grown up in prison, and he'd made a fucking mistake. And admittedly, he's taken someone's life. He has to pay for the consequences, but I punched someone. I could have taken their life, but I didn't. And I got such a lesser sentence. I was in prison for doing the exact same thing he did. We both punched a guy once. His guy died, mine didn't. I was out in 9 months. He's going to be in there for 20 years. He was such a nice guy, and it's crazy because he was like, so what's this Facebook thing all about then? I was like, what? It's like, everyone, I've seen it on the TV. There's people message each other and all that stuff. So, oh my God, you've been in prison for a long time. And then I said, I can't wait to go out, take off this tracksuit, and maybe put a pair of jeans on, maybe even a pair of shoes on and go out. And he said, oh, you wouldn't wear a pair of shoes, would you, Lou? I said, yeah, if I was Saturday night, 25, I'd put a pair of shoes on, trying to smarten up. Lou, come on, mate, you're not going to put a pair of shoes on.
As opposed to barefooted, I'm joking.
No, as opposed to a pair of Nike trainers on. He's still 17. Yeah, all right, okay. So this is what baffled me. Is like, when you go to prison, you stop all development. Like that's what I believe. I believe you're stuck in time. So he's still 17, even though he's 25 or whatever. I can't remember exactly.
Do they actually teach you anything when you're in there?
They do, but the outside world, they don't teach you. So like, he didn't know about social media, didn't know about going out, he didn't know about loads of those things because he wasn't exposed to them. They teach you maths and English, and you can do all sorts of things. And he was using those, and I think actually by this point, haven't found a way of contacting him, but I think he should be eligible for DCAT prison now, which means he could be out by now, because it's 7 years later now. He's probably actually out and free. But then again, you just don't know what happens in prison. He might have actually, had to get in a fight and slash someone's face one night, and that's it. He's fucked for another 2 rounds of
When he comes out, I mean, if he's got family, that's great. But if he's not got family, where does he go? The halfway houses? Or
they are good, I'll be honest, because I leverage, in a good way. Like I was always one of those people that was like, system, you don't care about us, it's nothing for us, you don't, playing that game. It's not true. Like, I got given the best pathway to success. Like, I'll tell you, so they gave me a rehab in prison and a psychologist and counseling and maths and English and gym, because I saw it, because I had this an awakening that I wanted to change my life, and I started to see these things and look for them and be like, oh, actually there is that, and there is that, and there is that, and there is that. And for once I could see the path of, oh, I can use these things. Before I was just deleting them, Then I got offered a 6 months opportunity to go to rehab free, which was 20 grand, but I got it for free because I was deemed eligible because I was such a mess. And then they started giving me employment support allowance and housing benefit, and I got a flat. And then they gave me an access course, which was a college course. Then they got me into uni. And then I started a business, and now I'm a multimillionaire. So that fucking prison system and the outside the prison system.
God, Lewis, I'm just going to go out and get myself arrested, because that would really sort me out. Really, really. I'm joking. But that's amazing that they did that with you. And but the thing is, you've got the head on you to make it work for you.
Sure. Yeah. People can't sometimes see.
You did something, you hit someone, you were told off for it, and you turned it into something positive, and you paid for your mistake, and you're now doing amazing. And yeah, you're an absolute inspiration. I'm not going to go and punch someone, but I feel like, when we...
you should do it. It's quite good every now and again. Therapeutic. No, I'm joking. But back then, in a weird way, it was. I'll tell you, didn't really feel loved by my dad, and then went out looking for significance. This is how I understand it now. Thinking it would give me the void that was not being met, or the need that was not being met by my dad. Tried a few things. One was acting, and then I got sexually abused. So this needs a part 2, if you want my story in this as well. And then
this is not a coffee shop. We'll have this conversation somewhere else.
Okay. And then I started having fights and things, and it gave me power and fuel, and I became addicted almost to the significance that I got through people knowing that I'm gonna smash people's heads in, basically. And I felt good about it. Like, if I'd had a fight, I'd look down at the ground and think, that's me up one more level,
Don't hit anybody. Don't
hit anybody. This was my warped thinking that literally I was a mess and a chav and a thug and violent and boorish, as they put me on the front
Don't think that, because I did the other day. I've now got this. There's a few people. I'm not going to say which area I live in, but there's like a bunch of kids, teenagers, smoking weed at the top, by the tube station, giving people grief. And I'm 5'1", no hair. So one comment, one guy said something like blah blah blah. Wait till I walked past and said, oh, that's a woman with no hair. So I just went back, and I was like, right, kids, look at it like that. Like 6 feet something like that. Do you know what, kids? I'm just going to say this once, right? A, I'm Scottish, right? B, I'm 5'1". C, I've got 2 second-dan black belts. You can't pull my hair. I'd have you in a second, man. And D, I could have my periods. And they all just went.
And E, I know how to pull a fucking spleen out, so fuck off.
and E, I'm a detective. So, and you know what? Every time I don't have my periods, because I've not been normal for years. So anyway, I just said all these things, and all the kids now, they go, right, Gail? It's like having respect at the tube. I'm like that, yeah, whatever.
Fair play, yeah. Do you know what? I wouldn't even do that, because I know what.
I was like, no violence. I just want to tell them, don't say anything.
It is risky doing that, because I tell you what, kids at that age, they have no idea of consequences. I can remember being like that. It's like anything past 18 is like, oh, that's not even gonna. I don't know. It just doesn't enter your mind. You kill somebody.
My daughter said, she went, do you know what, Mum? You're really lucky, because you know what? All it could have taken is one of them to be a little bit whatever with a knife, or and I said, do you know what? I didn't even think about that, because I grew up in a different decade. We were just kind of like, you know what? You want to talk to me? We'll talk to you.
Yeah, these days you get stabbed for stuff like that, 100%. Like, one of my friends at 21 years old got stabbed to death by a 17-year-old in just the middle of the street. They had a fight. They both went to the ground. As they went to the ground, a 6-inch kitchen knife came out of his hood because they was going to stab someone else, right? And they both looked at the knife. Who's going to pick it up first? And the guy just picked it up and went bang. One slice straight in the heart, dead.
But what they don't understand, this is what I want to sometimes like put them down and go, right, hang on. Not only if you killed someone or you've injured someone or you've injured an entire family, you've broken a family, you've broken your life because you're going to prison, you've broken your family's life who love you even though you're a mentalist, and you've broken, it's like you've affected so many people.
They probably didn't even have a family, probably.
You could probably come to Winter Wonderland with me and Lewis next year and just go on like some sort of like fun fair ride if you just put the knife down.
Yeah. It's a difficult one because I of course agree with that, but I can also kind of remember the lack of consequences and the lack of thought of anything that you just said there. That doesn't enter some people's brain.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It would be nice to actually just say to them, right, think about it. Just give it 2 minutes, right? Yeah. You want to have a wonderful life and meet wonderful people and do great things, or do you want to just have the same life in a prison for the rest of your days and think that you're super cool because you killed someone and you're never going to go to Iceland? Not the shop.
Because they do think they're cool because they've killed someone. That's the thing. Like the number one thing you'll get asked when you're in prison straight away for anything else is what are you in for, and that's because immediately you're ranked by
it's like that. It's a pecking order of.
Yeah, and they want to, if you're in for murder, it's like, I'm in for M. That's what they say, M. No. And then it's like, you're in for M. Oh, okay. Like, it's like that. That's how it is. I swear to God, it's crazy. And it's because people have limiting beliefs, and it's so, they're so ingrained. They were in my brain. So I know I can remember. They're so warped and they're so ingrained that you believe it. It doesn't matter what you say. I'm going to dismiss and reject and delete and distort. And I believe what I believe. It takes months and years of. Well, it's an institution and
you've got nowhere else to go. So you're going to listen to what these people are telling you, I guess. And you're either you've got to be extremely strong, and probably if you're disagreeing with these people as well, it's not going to bode well for you, is it? If you're going to be the different one. So you probably want to go with what everyone else is saying and be with the right people.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I came out and I actually felt I changed. Like I used to be a bad lad, but I used to like try to look nice and things like that. But when I came out, I just wanted to buy tracksuits and things like that. And I felt like that. And I was speaking different. And it was strange. Like now some of my friends messaged me and they said, I watched a video of you the other day. I couldn't believe how you sounded. It's like my voice has obviously become more articulate over the years.
Kind of like you pick up the accents and stuff like that. I think it's like if you go abroad or something, you pick up wherever you've gone. But yeah, I've heard people that I've known a couple of people in prison and they come out and they speak really differently.
Well, I used to be a bit of a, I wouldn't say Cockney because I wasn't from central London. I was from Watford, which is just outside. But
I went to West Herts Polytechnic.
Oh, really? Oh, what? Langley?
In Watford now, when I was like 18 or something.
Is that down in King's Langley though?
No, it's in Watford. It's on the Avenue.
Wow.
So where the train station is. So do you know that place?
That train station was where I punched the guy when I went to the centre of prison. Type in Watford Junction, Lewis Taylor.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, but I'm laughing at the same time. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's just because I know the station. So I'm laughing, kind of like not laughing at the punching. Yeah. But do you know when I went to West Herts, they were building the Harlequin Centre.
Oh my God, it's not even called that anymore, is it?
Well, I don't know. I've never
been multiple times. Yeah, I
was barred from the pub.
I have no way of it. Do you know that street, although Watford, just outside North London, not necessarily notorious, was voted the 4th most violent street in the UK, just because everything happened on that one street.
See, I was barred from like the pub. So there was a pub under the underground and I got barred from day one. So it was like
barred from every single place down there, to be fair. I couldn't get in anyone.
I got barred from there, and there was a nightclub called Paradise Lost, and I got barred from there on week 2. And I was like,
what were you doing wrong?
Just being Scottish.
Right. This has been an amazing podcast. I don't think we've even scratched the surface. Gail, can you commit something for me? Would you give me a part 2 of this? Because I think we had a great conversation. It's just lasted an hour and 20 minutes. People might need a toilet break, but I think there's so much more we can uncover. So maybe in a month or 2, leave people on suspense. We come back for part 2 because I think you've got a bit more to share. I guess.
Lewis, there's so much. Could we actually do it in jail? Can we see? Can we see if they can give us a cell, and then you can't get away from me?
That would be really cool. That would be really cool. Gail and Lewis interview each other inside prison. Let's just put that one out there to the world. I mean, you've got the doco contacts. Go and tell them we want it done now.
Lewis wants a BAFTA.
But let me just put this into context. Gail has been through mental health, all sorts of bereavement, alopecia, but has continued to stay stoic, as she calls it. And also, of course, is now the ambassador of the Princess Trust. I read all sorts of different charities.
I'm the ambassador of Samaritans, mental health, minds. Yeah, as many as I can possibly fit in. But it doesn't mean I've got answers to anything. But it means that if anyone asks me a question, I'll give you places to go. And I will chat to anybody I can chat to. But when it needs you need serious help, I know where to point you in the right direction. People that have helped me. The
point I was just trying to make, though, is all these things have happened. However, you're still staying strong, still helping other people. And you've won a BAFTA in the process quite recently. So you're turning, and you always have done.
I'm not being smug about it, but literally the only thing I've ever won in my life was a Weetabix pencil case from Asda. And so when I got a BAFTA, I was like, I just wanted to tell everybody. And but the thing was, it was more about the fact it was about mental health. So it wasn't for me. It was about everyone that's gone through it, like you, every single person that we all think there's something wrong with us. Mm-hmm. And there's not. We're all different. We're all fabulous and wonderful. We all need a bit of help. We all need a bit of care. And if I can win a BAFTA, well, not me, but the whole team, and for everyone that goes through everything, we've all won this BAFTA because we are fabulous and we're different.
What an amazing way. I always finish the podcast with, if anyone's, in a tough situation and they want to turn their adversity into an asset, how do they do it? But you just answered that question. So Gail, it's been an absolute privilege. Will you commit to a part 2?
Absolutely. What are you doing in about 20 minutes? No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, definitely. We'll definitely do a part 2. And we need to meet up for a cup of tea or something.
100%. I'll be in the UK in about 6 weeks' time. So let's make it happen.
Definitely. I'm all yours.
Thank you very much. And if people want to get in contact with you or they want to check out what you're doing, do you have a website? Do you have social media? What's the best place?
I think on Instagram, I am Gail Porter. And it's not because I'm being a wanker. It's because somebody is called Gail Porter and she's got it before me. So I had to do, I am Gail Porter. So that's on Instagram. Twitter is Gail Porter. What else do I need?
To be fair, do you know what? You type in Gail Porter, you're going to find you. You're there. Your Wikipedia.
Because a friend of mine said that she's following me on Facebook and it's not me. So if you're on Facebook, I don't really go on that, but I'm wearing a wee tiny black dress and I'm taking a picture in the mirror.
And also make sure you go to Google and type in Gail Porter, FHM, House of Parliament.
Don't do that. No. Oh, no.
Let's bring that one back. I'm Googling it as soon as I finish this. Not but just very curious.
Someone said to me the other day, he was sitting at a dinner table and he was chatting away about me while I was sitting next to him, which I thought was rather odd. And he said, this is Gail Porter. When she had hair, she was really pretty. And I was just looking at him, I thought, oh my gosh, wow.
You said when you had a personality, you were really nice, but yet that never happens. Fuck off.
So literally, if I've got something there that covers everything and I've got hair, then you were pretty, but now you don't have hair, so you're not. And I thought, I'm so lucky that I'm quite tough. But, because that's quite an offensive thing to say. It's just, but then I thought, do you know what? I could have knocked him out, but I didn't want to go to prison. Oh, actually, no, yeah. I've got my rent covers. I've got my rent covers for this month. So, next month. Yeah, I just thought, what a horrible thing to say to somebody who used to be nice.
You're either very media trained or you're just loving this conversation. But regardless,
keep going.
But regardless of the fact, you've just left this on a perfect cliffhanger. So doom. What? Yeah. So thank you very much, Gail. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
so much
for your time with me this morning. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. And this has been Turning Your Adversity into an Asset.